Hello and welcome back to our plumbing series. I'm Joe Carswell and this lesson covers power tools used for plumbing. You might notice this video, there's a lot of tools that are just kind of basic trade power tools. You've seen them before and you'll see them in other trades. But what I want to do in this conversation is get into how these tools relate to plumbing and some of the jobs that they can help us do in that trade. So let's get right into it. Welcome to our channel. By now we've loaded almost 100 videos onto YouTube so that anyone can have access to structured trades training resources. We are really trying to grow this channel, and the best way for that to happen is for you, the viewer, to subscribe. Also, if you learned something from these videos, don't forget to click like. So thanks for your support. Let's get back into the lesson. To start with, I'd like to talk about this tool, one of my favorites. It's a compound miter saw. This might not be the most common tool you'll see in plumbing, but the advantage you can get from this tool when cutting pipe is really amazing. There is not a better tool when it comes to accuracy and cutting square ends. So these two things are really important when we're cutting our plumbing pipe. A lot of these larger drain pipes are plastic. They cut very easily. And we can make these cuts nice and square and true and very accurate. And this tool can do it quickly. It's a very productive tool. You might not see this tool on a job site because a lot of our installations don't allow us to set this tool up. We don't have time, or we don't have the space to set it up. You might be under a building or in a crawl space or in a situation where you just don't have room to set this up. But if you can set it up or pre-cut some of your parts, this tool will do a great job of that. A power tool that's a plumber's friend would be a right angle drill. And a right angle drill has a little different configuration than a standard drill. This spindle that turns the bit would be turned in a right angle to the way I'm holding the tool. This will allow me to position this tool in a tight space in framing. And it also has a lot of torque to this tool, very high power, a high torque electric motor. So it will turn a bit through almost any number of layers of framing, and it will drill just about any hole size that you can find a bit to do that. Keep in mind, this tool is a two-handed tool. It has a lot of kick, and if it binds, if you get it in a position where the bit catches, something's got to give, and that tool can really jerk and cause you injury. So you have to be very careful with this strength of a tool. On to more drills. I have a whole nother series of drills we call hammer drills. Hammer drills work like regular drills, but they also can be set to add a hammering feature to the drilling process. What that does is if we're working with either masonry or concrete, it helps us drill our holes using special bits. This is a simple electric drill with a hammer drill feature. It also has a keyed chuck, which requires a key to make that work. And a lot of this masonry or concrete operation requires a really strong chuck. A lot of times you won't find the keyless chuck on these type of drills. A whole nother type of hammer drill would be an SDS drill. This is a drill that is basically a mini jackhammer, okay? These get even bigger than this one. And it has a few simple settings on it as well. I can set it to just drill, like I mentioned before. I can also set it to drilling and hammering. So I have both symbols there. Now the drill will not only turn in a forward or reverse direction, but it also adds a very quick impact to every turn. This helps us get through those difficult materials like concrete or masonry. And if I set it over here, I get just the hammering action. So in this setting, we've turned this tool into that mini jackhammer. And for a plumber, a lot of times we're working with concrete. You might be working in a building that has a concrete floor or what we call a slab. We need to get under that slab to get to this job, the plumbing work that we need to do, and this tool could make a path in that concrete for us very easily. Next up, we have a cordless drill, and this tool is used in a lot of trades, but it can also help out a plumber. If you need to put some fasteners in, that would be for some minor framing modifications. Securing pipe, that's a big deal when we're plumbing. This tool can get that job done. Also, cordless drills are powerful enough now that you can actually drill some holes in framing with this tool using specialized bits. So let's take a look at some of those bits. I'll start with my spade bits. These are simple, sort of convenient, inexpensive bits. They come in a range of sizes, not too big, maybe down to 1/2 inch, up to say 1.5 inches. They're flat, they have a point to get them started. They'll make a nice rough hole very quickly. So this would be a non-finished boring process with these tools. But if you needed to route a pipe through a 2x4 or 2x6, this might be a good start even with our cordless drill or a simple electric drill. I've got here an auger bit, and this one requires more strength or more power from the drill. You would put this in an electric drill or say your whole hog, your right angle drill, and the tip of this tool has a screw point on it. There are threads on it, it's like a wood screw. This is going to feed this bit into that material, and it's going to feed it in very aggressively. So we talked about an aggressive drill, now we have an aggressive bit. We have two hands on this power tool, and we're working through our material very quickly. We have to drill a lot of holes, so this is a very productive way to do it, but we need the power from the drill to get that done. These come in different diameters and different lengths, and this bit will pull through any number of layers of materials. If you need a bigger hole, you might use a hole saw. A hole saw has a pilot bit, which will start the boring process, and then it has a cup with saw teeth on it. These come in a lot of different sizes. I have seen these up to 6 inches and even bigger. They'll go down to maybe even 3/4 or 1/2 inch. All of those depend on how big of a hole you need to turn. The bigger the cup, the more power you need from the drill and the more chance of that binding or kicking of that drill while you're making your hole. So also notice that the depth of the cup, or the cup is closed on the back. So the depth of the cup limits how much material you can take out at one time. Typically these are about 2 inches deep. So we can drill through one layer of 2x4. It will fill up with material. We will have to stop the process, pull out that material, and then we can continue with making our hole. If you need to drill through concrete or masonry, we're going to use a hammer drill, and we're going to use a special bit with that drill. These are masonry bits. They don't work on any other material other than something like concrete, brick, and possibly tile. And they have a special tip on them. It is a hardened tip, and they don't cut like a regular bit. They sort of grind their way through the material. So if we add that spinning motion, it's going to grind. Then we add that hammering action. The tip can take that. It's not going to wear it out, but it will also remove more of that material. So these are smooth shanks on these bits. These would fit into a typical chuck. I also have some for my SDS drill, which is splined drive shaft. These are made with special notches in them, and these are quick connects, and they also allow for that forward hammering motion that that drill will give when we set it to that setting. So these snap into this drill, and we will pull this collar back on the chuck, and it will snap in. Now we have this ready to do whatever work we need to do. We'll set our setting, and we'll drill our holes in our masonry or concrete. You might see a chisel bit or a pointed bit. These you would use without the drill setting. These would be turning this tool into just a jackhammer. So when we get these in, now we can do some real work. This turns this into a braking tool. We can bust through concrete slabs, make a lot of room. So this turns this into a completely different tool. Moving on, I've got a power tool here you'll see used a lot in construction, and you'll also see a plumber use this one often. Our Sawzall is great for modifying framing. A plumber's job is to come into a building that's already built in the rough stages, which would be rough framing, modify that framing to run a lot of pipes through. This tool is great for making those modifications, especially if you know how to use it. I've seen it used poorly, but plumbers have to use it with a lot more control. So this tool is a two-handed tool. I won't get into too many of the details. You can definitely check our other resources when we get into power saws for details about this tool. But also this tool would be good not only for modifying framing, but also cutting pipe in a tight space. If you need a little more control over your cut, you might see a jigsaw used. That's a tool that can possibly cut a hole into a floor deck to run a pipe through. It's great for cutting curves, so our round pipe would fit through whatever hole we needed to make. It offers us a lot more control than a Sawzall, but it works basically in the same way. I'd like to throw in another tool. So another one of my favorites. I never get through a job without one of these. And this can really do a plumber a favor in a pinch. This is an oscillating multi-tool. There are different blades we can put on the end of it. It moves very slowly and can make some very fine cuts. We can use this tool in the finished plumbing process to make some adjustments to drywall or other, maybe the back of a cabinet to install a sink, something like that. It also could work to cut a pipe in a very tight space. So when it comes to installing pipe, you might need some special tools. These tools not only come in hand tools, but also power tools. If you need to cold expand a PEX pipe and fitting, you would use a PEX expander. So if you would like to see that in action, check out our hand tools. It shows that tool in action. So we've really quickly been through just a few power tools. You will see these used in plumbing. Of course, there are a lot more. We've just scratched the surface. But I hope you've learned something about some basic hand tools that you might have known of before that get used in this process of plumbing systems. If you're watching this video through one of your courses, check out the vocabulary PDF that's included in that course. Learn your terms. This is what makes us professional. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson. So if you learned something from this video, don't forget to click like and subscribe. We're putting out new stuff all the time. Right, so we're going to push it in and then let go of this collar. It's now locked. It's not locked in. Let me do that again. So